Yes. Good morning, Neha. Okay. So, welcome all of you to current affair class. Let me on the camera. So, very good morning to all of you. So, I think it's already 9:02. We should start the class. So, the first topic of the day that we are going to discuss is trade unions. What is this trade unions? Let me give you brief conceptual framework of trade unions. See what happens. Industrial revolution happens. It means industrial revolution means what? That production of goods and services through machines. And these machines can produce goods and services on mass scale. Earlier, by the use of hands, we were producing the goods, the clothes, the pots, the craft, etc. All are produced by using hands. But now through machine we can produce these products on mass scale. Earlier mass scale was not possible. Suppose earlier we can produce, suppose clothes maybe 1000 unit, 10,000 units, etc. So basically supply was always lesser than demand, so that is why these products were little expensive also. But post industrial revolution, these 10,000 products now can be, these products of clothes etc can be produced in mass scale, that is suppose 1 crore units, even maybe 10 crore units etc. So here demand is greater than supply. Sorry, supply is greater than demand. So it is the de facto need of your organization that you will export these products, you will sell these products to other countries, because in domestic market you get the saturation limit of demand. You cannot sell beyond a limit in your domestic market. That is why export is required. That is why the export of goods from Britain started to its colonies. So far so good. If the production is on mass scale, if the sale of the goods is on mass scale by taking the advantage of exports, then there would be profits on mass scale, isn't it? A large size profit you would get from production from large size profit you would get from production through machines. So earlier maybe you were earning suppose rupees 1 lakh, but now through machines you would earn rupees 100 crore. But thing to understand is, in earlier process labor value was more. Without labor you cannot produce anything. But in new production mechanism, labor value is very less. Labor role is very less. Without labor you can produce your things. The only thing you need from the labor is to operate the machines. So earlier labor take the maximum share of the profits. Out of 1 lakh, maybe 60 to 70,000 may goes to the labor. But after industrial revolution, labor role is very limited, his skills are not required, etc. So that is why this 100 crore is appropriated by whom? Capitalists. That is the owners of these machines. Owners of these factories would take away the major chunk of profits. Then what the labor do? Now labor is at, not only they lose their skill value in the market, but they also get outnumber. What I mean by outnumber is supply of labor is greater than demand. If suppose some labor said I would take major chunk of share from 100 crore rupees, it is my right also. Then what would capitalist do? What would owner of this machine do? They would replace that labor from another one, because plenty of laborers are available in the market and they can hire anyone they want. Then what the labor should do? They lose their work, they lose their livelihood, and they lose their wages, they lose their security of tenure, they lose their sound working conditions, etc. So now labor is at complete disadvantageous position vis owners of these machines. So now laborers find a way out. Laborers find a way out that in हिंदी it is said that single एक उंगली कोई काम करी अगर वो उंगलियां सारी मिलकर मुट्ठी बन जाए तो it got the power. The single finger is of no use, but if these fingers can go together and form a fist, it can leave a powerful impact. This is from where trade union concepts comes into being. The labor start getting united to get their labor rights. That is fair wages, fair working conditions, participation in management, etc. But it is being said that new labor laws are attack on the workers' ability to safeguard their rights. And as you know, there are four labor codes which has been passed in the parliament, which has consolidated 29 central laws. These four labor codes are on wages, social security, occupational safety and health, and industrial relation. Industrial relation means basically the relationship between management and workers. So let me give you brief about the. I have told you the concept of trade unions. Now giving you the history of trade unions. It emerged in 19th century. Self-managed organization of workers. So why it has been emerged, I have already explained. It gives collective voice to working people against employer exploitative, unfair and illegal practice. Already explained. To get better wages, employment conditions, safe and secure workplace. Because these machines sometimes become hazardous to their life. Because these machines are prone to accidents and workers may get fall to it and he may suffer injuries or even death because of it. And it provided members and elected officers of union immunity against the law on criminal conspiracy. What does it mean? Suppose if you have done in your college days or in your school days, if you do bunk the class individually, the next day you would be caught by the teacher or professor and he would impose heavy punishment onto you, maybe fine, maybe call your parents, etc. But if you do mass bunk, all the students of the class do bunk the class simultaneously, then you would not face any punishment. It is would be very rare if you face any punishment. Even if the punishment you get, then punishment may not be severe. If that punishment is severe, then this punishment would not have any impact on you because you all are together in facing this punishment. Similar happens with workers in trade union. When these workers and elected officers do nasty things like strike, gherao, boycott of work, etc. They do not, or even sometimes do traffic jams, block the traffic, block the railways, etc. If they do such kind of activities, they do not face any charge of criminal conspiracy because they are all together. Now coming to the criticism of the new labor law. See, first, it does not invite trade unions in pre-legislative consultation. See, what happens? Government, what would happen? There is government ministry. From ministry, there would be a proposal of law. This proposal would be given to a committee so that a detailed legislative framework could be made by this committee. Then this committee would again give back to the proposal to the government ministry. Then this government ministry would put it into public domain, inviting comments or their feedback or their analysis or examination of the given proposal. And after incorporating this feedback, government ministry gives it to cabinet. After cabinet approval, it goes to the legislature. And you know, first reading, second reading, third reading that happens regarding lawmaking process. And finally, it went to the president for assent. This is the elaborative procedure of lawmaking. But here at this stage, public domain stage, it is accused that government has not invited trade unions. Second, the new code dilute workers' right in favor of employers' right. It has given employers' rights more preference with respect to workers' right. For example, of long working hours like of 10 or 12 hours may compromise your leisure time. So these kind of employer rights are given preference. So it undermines workers' right to association and collective action. How you would like to know from this act? This Trade Union Act 1926 was passed by Britishers. Remember this year 1926, 1919 Russian Revolution. Russian Revolution was of whom? Workers. They were protesting against the owners of machines. They do want to usurp the power that these owners of machine wields. So British government were quite fearful of these workers' revolution in India. So to douse the potential fire that may be instigated by workers, they enacted this act so that workers can vent out, release their anger, frustration, etc. through this act, and they might not take the extreme step of revolution. That is their fear in their mind. That is why Britishers enacted this progressive law of Trade Union Act. Here in this act, it is made mandatory that trade unions would be registered with the government, and after registering, they would get the certain rights of collective bargaining, protests, strikes, etc. And it provides a framework governing their functioning, like how the election would be held to the officials, how the officials would be appointed, what would be their salary, what would be their rights, powers, etc. How the membership would be, how membership drive would be undertaken, etc. All are given in this act. Then, if any trade union violate any provision of the act, that trade union may be deregistered. And Industrial Relation Code has now widened the grounds which a trade union may be deregistered. Earlier, it was meant for only its internal functioning. For example, if there is corruption, for example, if the laws are not followed, for example, trade union is functioning against the interest of members, then only trade union could be deregistered. But now this new code has made it that for any ground they can be deregistered, and this ground can be specified by the central government by its notification. So government, by using its arbitrary power, can deregister any trade union. It has Government has to do just one thing. It has to put it into a notification. So basically trade union rights are being taken away. They can be deregistered in one go by one pretext or another, by one excuse or another, by one reason or another. They can be deregistered, and thereby their rights, collective rights, are taken away. They are their right to present their members, that is workers, before the dispute resolution machinery, maybe tribunal, labor tribunal may be established, like to address the dispute between employer and employee, etc. Or in court, they cannot no longer represent. Any collective action taken by its member and elective officers are now illegal, and the criminal procedures can be charged upon against them. See, we have discussed just before that criminal proceedings are not taken against these members, but now it has been specifically said in the act that if they indulge in any sort of criminal offense, they would be charged. For example, they may go violent and start burning the buses, or start hitting the public vehicles, or start hitting the common man, etc. These kind of action would now be illegal. So now what would be the implication? First, their collective action would be deterred. So they would no longer be in position to bargain for greater rights from the capitalist class. Second, their unions would be pushed to create extra legal formation like struggle committees or workers front. Extra legal means beyond the law. See, let me give make you understand by the example of extra constitutional. I said Niti Ayog is an extra constitutional body. Niti Ayog is an extra constitutional body. What does it mean? Extra constitutional. That it Niti Ayog does not have any reference in constitution. Constitution does not establish Niti Ayog. So it is established beyond the framework of constitution. But it does not mean that it is ultra virus of constitutional framework. It is violative of constitution. No. It simply means it does not find mention in constitution. Similarly, these trade unions would form these kind of organization, and this organization does not find any mention in trade union act or industrial relation code, etc. So they would now be forced to come on the streets. They would now do the street fighting. So the employee disemployment resolution would be now outside the legal framework. And working class dissent would now be criminalized and they would lose their freedom of association that is provided by Article 19. And one thing you should remember this now the new generation of workers like you and me does not like trade unions. Why? First, trade unions sometimes do what they sometimes work in the manner which put obstruction to the normal course of business. They just by using their collective strength stops the work, demand for higher wages. You can say disproportionate wages. Suppose their work value is rupees 1 lakh, they would demand that give us 5 lakh. That is quite unreasonable and disproportionate demand. They would call for absolutely better conditions, best conditions, etc. So new generation of workers are not liking trade union because it stops the work. It lets them lesser salary at the end of the month. Second, this generation of workers are hating trade unions because they do not want to be remain in one single organization. They want to switch or shift from one organization to another in the hope of better wages, better salaries, better work service condition, better package, etc. See, trade unions are meant for the workers who want to stay in one particular organization. But these new generation of workers want to shift in multiple organizations. Suppose today you are working in TCS, tomorrow you will work in Infosys, and after that you will work in Wipro, etc. Third, growing automation. Every process of production is now getting automated. So it means again worker value get reduced, workers get outnumbered, their supplies get greater than their demand. So that is why also trade union is losing their relevance. Fourth, this new generation of workers does not want to become members of all India trade unions. All India trade unions like Bharatiya Mazdoor Sabha, this is affiliated to BJP. Similarly, Congress, Communist Party, etc., has their own all India trade unions. And these trade unions, what they do, they have political linkage with the parties, so they sometimes work on the dictates of political masters. They promote the political masters' interest rather than worker interest. That is why new generation of workers are also hesitant to join these kind of trade unions. And now there is growing startup culture also. That is why that is why they also resisting these kind of trade unions. So let me see your comments. This topic has been completed. Yeah, Ashok, hi. Abhishek, good morning. Pankaj, good morning. So yes, let us move towards next topic. Write lessons for Pulwama and Balapur. See, recently what happens, very short topic it is, not a big topic. Recently what happens, Pakistan opposition MP Sardar Ayaz Siddique, he has alleged that the Taliban government, this government of Imran Khan, which has released Indian fighter pilot Abhinandan Vartman last year, He has done so because of fear of imminent missile strike from India. That India would launch a counter strike on the Imran Khan Pakistan, and he would be fearful, and he got fearful, and he released the Abhinandan. Our analysis is not of his assertion. Okay, they can say whatever they want to say because in Pakistan also there is democracy. Our analysis is basically what we need to derive lessons from Pulwama and Balakot. So let me give you the brief background. I think you all may be aware of it. 14 November 2019, the day of Valentine, suicide car bomb blast in Pulwama. 40 Central Reserve Police personnel were killed. Indian Air Force take a revenge strike in Balakot in Khyber Pashtun province of Pakistan, where it has claimed that more than 200 terrorists has been killed in one strike. Pakistan Air Force try to give a befitting reply the next day, but in aerial combat, his jet was destroyed and our jet was also destroyed, but our commander was captured by Pakistan military. Later, he was released after diplomatic negotiation and pressure from foreign countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, USA, China, etc. He was later released. So what are the lessons from Pulwama and Balakot? Let me give you first briefly positives of Balakot strike. First, it gives Pakistan entrenched establishment, that is ISI, military, etc. That India would no longer sit silent in case they attack Indian through their proxies, that is terrorists. Second, we get huge international support. UAE, Saudi Arabia, USA, even China has condemned the uh, this Pulwama attack. Third, it also shows that we have the capability to give a strong befitting replies to any Pakistani misadventure. Fourth, it also break the myth that any skirmish with Pakistan would result eventually into nuclear war. Sixth, it breaks the myth that the world would get divided in case India counterattacks Pakistan. Here, world has spotted us. But nevertheless, there are many limitations in this operation of Balakot. What are those? Let us see. Let us see. Pulwama attack, National Investigation Agency, which is specifically meant for investigation terrorist cases, has filed a 13,800 page charge sheet. But in this charge sheet, no one has been put into trial. The culprits are still beyond the law. What I mean, अभी भी कानून का शिकंजा उस पर नहीं खिंच पाया है. अभी भी वो कानून के दायरे से बाहर है. अभी भी the culprits are freely roaming in the society. Second, intelligence failure. See, the whole range of numerous vehicles of military was passing on that day. One vehicle, second vehicle, third vehicle, fourth vehicle, fifth vehicle, etc. And here a large number of soldiers were there in each vehicle, and they were going for their winter posting. And suddenly a car came and destroyed the one single vehicle where 40 soldiers were traveling. So do you think intelligence agencies like RAW, IB does not have any idea about this car movement? How that person can come with such large amount of explosive in its car and blown away this military car? See, there is my friend in intelligence bureau. I have asked him that do you think Pulwama was an intelligence failure? He said no. He said we have informed the higher authorities about that such kind of attack is being planned and it may happen. But higher authorities refuse to act on it because refusal at that time has greater importance than action. Why? Because elections were overdue. The maximum political dividend that the ruling party get was from Balakot airstrike. In 2019 December, it has lost election in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. But in 2020 January, it started taking certain reforms like income tax was reduced, economically weaker section reservation, etc. But still, it was incomplete to win the elections. Such reforms was incomplete to win the elections. So, what make it complete was Pulwama attack. So, basically, it was not an intelligence failure, but failure to act upon the intelligence. Third, violation of standing operating procedure by the security forces. They does not have followed the protocol required to move their kafila. That is this group of vehicles that were moving at that time. Then there is possible involvement of police officer Devender Singh in this attack. Nevertheless, there are other criticism also that IAF, who is claiming that it has shot down a Pakistan Air Force F-16 fighter jet. It is also seen with skepticism in Western capitals like Britain, France, etc. does not believe in the IAF claim. They have the doubts over the IAF claim that they were able to shot down this jet. Why? Why? Because F-16 fighter jet is quite advanced jet. It is provided by USA to Pakistan and it is quite militarily advanced jet. But the IAF, which has used MiG-21 jet to counterattack this F-16, is quite outdated. MiG-21 is outdated. So they have this skepticism that how can a outdated, a old, an absolute machinery can neutralize the very advanced machinery used by the Pakistan. Then there is also doubts whether IAF was able to attack the designated target precisely, whether actually the terrorist get killed or not. That is also been put doubt on. Third, IAF lost a fighter aircraft. That is also the fact. Our pilot get ended in the Pakistan custody. That is also the fact. And even IFC, what happens when Pakistan do the counter attack? In hurry, in haste, IAF shot down two missiles. IAF to shot down two missiles. First was meant for F-16. Second, uh, IAF thought there are two fighters that are coming from the Pakistan. So that is why it launched two counter missiles. Okay, but second, uh, on the second missile, it shot down its own helicopter. Its own helicopter. We lost our own helicopter and a pilot because of wrong detection of incoming opponent missile in our territory. Our radar system was not able to identify the incoming fighter jets from the Pakistan. That is why we shot down our own helicopter and a pilot. That is also showed that our air defense system is not up to the mark. Then IAF behaved in a partisan manner by not preventing media from reportage of incident before the Lok Sabha election were over. See, in democracy, armed forces are apolitical. They just follow the order of the ruling government. But they do not need to support the ruling party. When they shut down the door of examination by the media over the incident, it has basically helped the ruling party to win the elections. That is also one of the criticism of the event. And also this surgical strike of 2016 at Balaghat airstrike, it is being said that there has been no deterrence on the Kashmir insurgency. There is no deterrence on the ceasefire violation of LOC. There is no deterrence on the infiltration of terrorists from Pakistan to India. In fact, it has been increased after these kind of strikes. So that raised the question mark whether these strikes are done for political reasons or security reasons. So this is the interview question for you. Do you think Balaghat airstrike is as successful as military adventure as in 1971 war victory? So yes, good morning, Ragga Jarpala. So let us come to the third topic. That is also a very small topic. Afterwards, long topics would start. This is basically UAE Golden Visa Program. It What is this program? It would provide 10-year residency visa to certain people. Who are those certain people? I will let you know. Initially, UAE by 2019 think that we would provide permanent residential system, that we would provide permanent residency to certain class of people, but later on it changed its mind and reduced it to 10 years, and it provides quite benefits to cardholder and their families. And for whom they would be provided, they would provide all the holders of degree, doctorate degree in medicine, computer programming, electronics, electric, biotechnical engineers, and also who have degree in artificial intelligence, big data, epidemiology. And those high school students from expatriate community or diaspora community living in UAE and rank top in the country, they would also get the permanent, also this golden visa. A student for certain university who has grading greater than 3.8 is also eligible. Not only those, but also those who have invested more than 10 billion dirham in UAE, they can also get the golden visa. Why they are inviting? See, their economy has been affected by COVID-19 and low prices. COVID-19 shutdown of factories, shutdown of shops, etc. Low oil prices, low revenue to the government, low investment, low employment. That is why the diaspora community is leaving the UAE. They are not finding the jobs here, so they are leaving. So UAE want to attract back the diaspora, but not the all kinds of diaspora. The unskilled workers, the semi-skilled workers, no, only the highly skilled workers. That is basically the cream of the labor. They are just inviting the cream of the labor. They just want the talented people and great minds to come to the UAE so that innovation, creativity, and applied research could be promoted. And that would increase UAE competitiveness and UAE would emerge as a global incubator. So what would the benefits to India? Indian expatriate community is the largest ethnic community in India. 30% of the UAE population, that is around 30 lakh people, are Indians. And why Indians? Why Indians hold such large number of visas in UAE? Because Indians are trusted. Among their counterparts, that is, see, there are Pakistani workers also there in UAE. There are Bangladeshi workers also there in UAE. But UAE people trust Indian people more than Pakistanis and Bangladeshis. That is why you would find that UAE government would do certain steps to accommodate Indian community in UAE. That is why they would allow gurdwaras to be open. They would allow these temples to be opened in UAE. They would allow the celebration of Diwali, Guru Purab, etc. Because India's they seems are more trustworthy than Pakistanis and Bangladeshis. That is why they get better employment opportunities. And India would also get the benefit of increase in remittances. For example, this is person Ramesh. He has gone to UAE. He earned there suppose 10 lakh rupees. 8 lakh rupees he sent back to his family who is living in India. This is what known as remittances. And India is the top receiver of remittances. It is around $79 billion per year. Our foreign exchange reserves get shoot up because of these high remittances. The second largest receiver of remittances are China. That is around $66 billion. Then it is Mexico. Then it is Egypt. By these names, you may get the idea that these countries are developing countries. These countries are highly populous country, labor surplus country. That is why their labor move out of their respective homes and visit to other countries in search of better employment opportunities. And you may get the idea that from where these remittances are coming, that is from developed countries, whether it is Gulf region, that is Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc., or whether it is America, Canada, UK, France, Germany, etc. That is basically the flow of remittances in the world. And 12% of the world remittances we got in 2015. And also the things which are hindering remittances flow in the country is high cost of remittances. You transfer money by Google Pay, suppose, but you are not charged a single penny for it. But to transfer money from UAE to India, you may be charged at least 10% commission. That hinders the flow of remuneration. So that is why it is high requirement that private sector, government, banks, payment providers like Visa card, Mastercard, etc. They should collaborate with each other and try to provide an organized legal framework to the diaspora living in various parts of the world so that they can transfer their money in least amount of charges, at least amount of charges or commissions. So this is the first prelims question of the day. Kindly answer. Then we will move forward towards next topic. Yeah, good morning, Jannat. Yes, answer it. We will move forward towards next question. Yes, be fast. Let me see what is the yes. Yeah, Ritik, Rachna, Jannat, Deepak, Pankaj, Neha, all have answer B. Yes, answer is B. Answer is B. Yes, yes, Rucha. Answer is B. So last week, Prime Minister paid tributes to the leader Birsa Munda on his birth anniversary on 15th November. So this is paper one topic. You always ask me to bring, sir, bring paper one topics also in current affair discussion. That is why this topic is chosen. And I was to discuss this topic in previous class, but because of short of time, I was not able to discuss. That is why we are discussing today. So remember this Jharkhand, which are carved out of Bihar, his official see officially it came into the being on Birsa Munda birth anniversary. That is basically the 50th November. Yeah, Jharkhand comes into the being. And what the Jharkhand means? Jharkhand means land of forests. And Jharkhand has huge importance. Why? 40% of our minerals and 29% of our coal are there in Jharkhand. So it is our raw material belt, or you can say mineral belt of India. And see this, you can see the Jharkhand in map. I think you are well aware of it that Chhattisgarh, UP, Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha all border it. And there are 32 tribal groups, including Bunda, Kol, Santhal, Orient, Khond, Asur, Khond, etc. lives in Jharkhand. So basically, it is highly forested area, and below this forest there are minerals. And in this forest, these tribals live. Very rudimentary analysis. So this is the map of Jharkhand, the districts of Jharkhand. If you are preparing for Jharkhand civil service, this may be relevant for you, otherwise not. Now coming to the Birsa Munda. See, his birth was in 15th November 1875 and he belongs to Munda tribe and he also known as Dharti Aba, that is father of earth. What his relevance is, he act as a leader of tribals and he has mobilized the tribal community against the Britishers. Why? Why he has done it? Because his rebellion is known as Ulgun, that is Great Turbulent, which aimed at establishing a Buddha Raj, which is basically the rule of Birsa Munda. That is basically this rebellion was a political movement. It advocates transfer of power from Britishers to Buddhas. Why? First, land policies of Britishers I have already explained in the previous class, where Britishers consider forest just as a resource, not as a place of livelihood, culture, or symbiotic relationship between tribals and forest, etc. They just want to exploit the forest for its timber, for its resources, for its minerals, etc. That is why they have alienated the tribals from the forest. They have restricted their access, they have prohibited them to cut the trees, etc. Not only this, the Hindu landlords and moneylenders, they have taken away their land. And also there was constant attempt by the Christian missionaries to convert them into Christian. So basically, politically they were disempowered, economically they were disempowered, and culturally also they get disempowered. So that is why they start getting resisted. They started resistance against all these three, and they have used their traditional signals and language to browse the people. So here we have the learning. We have the learning that in case you become IAS officer, you want to implement the policies. You have to use local symbols, local language to spread your message, to implement the policy. That would connect you and your policy with the masses. That is the learning we get from here, and it meant for to destroy the Ravana, that is the Dekus, they called it. Those Europeans who are there to convert their culture into Christianity, or Britishers, etc., and also the outsiders of Hindu landlords and moneylighters, they called it Dekus or Ravanas. So these followers began targeting the symbols of Deku. They raided and destroyed police station, church, property of moneylenders, jimidars, etc. They raised their white flag, that is symbol of Birsaraj, that is now Birsaraj started on this particular land. अब हमारा राज यहाँ पे चालू हो गया, उसका मतलब ये था. तो 3 मार्च 1900 बिरसा मुंडा was arrested by British police at Jamkoi forest in Chandrapur, Jharkhand, and he died of cholera in the jail. And since the leader eliminated, so is the movement. So this is also the second learning. If you are writing solutions for Naxalism or insurgency, terrorism, etc., you can write a solution that we should target leaders so that that movement, that phenomena can be wiped out in short period of time. And what is its significance? Nevertheless, colonial government do bow to their demands and introduce Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act 1908, where land of the traveler could not be easily taken by Dikus, that is Hindu landlords and money lenders. And but Britishers still have the power to take away the land from tribals. But it has restricted the land taken away by the landlords or money lenders कि तुम मत करो, हम सिर्फ लैंड ले सकते हैं, ये हक हमारा है इनको एक्सप्लॉइट करने का. और that also shows that tribals has the capacity to protest against the injustice and express their anger against colonial rule. So one more good thing happened, Birsa's Act. That is also the significance of this movement. It challenged the conversion efforts of missionary. Munda and Orient tribe joined, and in this act, modernization of tribals were emphasized, like giving a dripping lipper, clean their village, stop believing in witchcraft, sorcery, etc. जादू टोने पे विश्वास मत करो, और take the modern education. So this is the prelims question again for you. Answer it fast. Yes, now like schedule 5 and 6 and all. Yes. Yeah, hi Prajwal. Yes, next is quite important topic, Ethiopia's conflict. You may be reading about this Ethiopian conflict in news. Now we would do this Ethiopian conflict in quite detail so that you get the understanding, and whenever you read these kind of news in newspaper, you would easily able to understand it. Yes, answer is C. Answer is C. Very good. Answer is C. Now coming to the conflict in Ethiopia. Now Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has said that we would continue the military operation in Tigray region. Tigray region. And it has put world leaders into stress that this military operation may result into civil war, where different communities would fight with each other to get the political power. So before coming to this issue in Ethiopia, let us understand what is this Horn of Africa. Horn of Africa consists regions of four countries, that is Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia. So this is the Horn of Africa in the world map. This. So these four countries are there in this region. Let me show you in much detail. So Eritrea, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Somalia. These countries, remember this Kenya border, Ethiopia in south, Uganda also borders, little is also a neighboring country. Sudan borders in west, Eritrea borders in north, and Djibouti in northeast. This you should remember. Okay. Coming to the Tigray region. Tigray is in the northwest part of the is in the northwestern part of the Ethiopia. Tigray region. That also you should remember. So now let us see what is the Ethiopian conflict. First, know this Tigray People Liberation Front. It is basically a military turned party where earlier fighters now are the Democrats workers. See, this Mizo National Front, they were also earlier the insurgents. But when they give up their insurgency in 1974 by Mizo Peace Accord, they come into the mainstream politics. Mainstream politics. And they contest the election, won the election, and their insurgent leader become the CM. And afterwards, they do not resort to any kind of violence. They use the democratic form of protests or democratic mechanism of grabbing the power through elections, etc. But they give up their violent method of asserting their political power. Okay, so this is basically the militia turned party in India. Similarly, Tigray People Liberation Front is also militia turned party in Ethiopia. So, as an IAS officer, you should not uh, incite or have any enmity with anyone. कि कब कौन प्रधानमंत्री सीएम बन जाए कुछ नहीं पता किसी के साथ कोई दुश्मनी आपको नहीं रखनी so this militia turned party was part of a group of parties that has brought to end the military dictatorship in 1991 and basically there were large number of parties which have fight the military dictatorship and this Tigray People Liberation Front leader Balis Genuine he became the interim president in 1991 and first elected prime minister in 1995. So this party has the power in the Ethiopia. So this party plays the dominant role in the country's ruling coalition. Basically, it is like BJP in the NDA alliance. Among the NDA constituents, Akali Dal, JDU, etc., BJP is the dominant party. Similarly, this party was dominant in the country's ruling coalition, which is named as People Revolutionary Democratic Front. Just like we have the coalition like UPA United Progressive Alliance, NDA National Democratic Alliance, etc. Similarly, they have named their coalition. And the other regional parties were Amhara Democratic Party, Oromo Democratic Party, Southern Ethiopian People Democratic Movement. And this person, this name, Melis Genvi, what he has done, he has developed the country's ethno-federal system. Basically, just like Jawaharlal Nehru has done the state reorganization of the country. Similarly, he has also done the state reorganization of the country and also developed the relationship or power distribution between center and states. And he was in power till 2012. So basically, this party was quite a dominant party in the Ethiopian politics, and he has enjoyed the power for more than 17 years. But the Tigray people are minorities in the Ethiopia. Only 6% of the population were Tigray people. Oromos constitute 24% and Amharas constitute 27%. So now the Advani movement comes in the Ethiopia. What is Advani movement? See, Advani found that 85% of the population of this country is Hindu. Why small minorities have the veto power over country's politics? If Muslim does not like one thing, that policy would not be implemented. If Muslims in mass in bulk about give vote to one political party, that political party would win. Now Advani thinks that if I am able to mobilize 42, just 50% of this 85% Hindus, that is 42% of the voters, I am going to win the election for sure. That is same thing happened in the Ethiopian politics. Oromos believes that Tigray people uh, is putting them into marginalization. Similarly, Advani has said that Hindu khatre mein hai. Hindu is in danger. Hindu is being marginalized. Muslims are being appeased. Muslims are given unfair benefits. Similarly, Oromo says we are being marginalized. And they call for greater representation. Just like Advani says, greater number of Hindus should be elected in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Similarly, Oromos say the same thing. Then over the years, this coalition government is also accused of being increasingly authoritarian and thereby frequent mass protests like we witnessed in Anna Jare movement. Similarly, this kind of mass protest was faced in this government. Then in 2018, finally, there was transition of power where Abiy, a former military officer, was chosen as PM. Just like in 2014, there was a transition of power from Congress to BJP. Congress, who has ruled the country for more or less 70 years. From Congress, there was a shift of power to BJP. Similarly, the ruler who has ruled Ethiopia for more than 25 years now has given the power to new leader, that is Abiy. And now Abiy Ahmed, who is Abiy Ahmed? He is country's first Oromo leader. So basically, the similarly just like Modi is Hindu Samrat, Hindu ruler. Similarly, Oromo leader get chosen in Ethiopia. I'm why I'm giving you the Indian politics example, because you must have seen Indian politics. You may not have seen the Ethiopian politics. If you compare it with Indian politics, it would be very easy for you to understand the Ethiopian political situation. Otherwise, it may become difficult for you. Then good works done by this new leader. He has reached out to the political opposition and he has ushered democratic reforms like he has lifted curbs on media and he has made peace with the Eritrea. Eritrea is the neighbor of Ethiopia, just like we have the neighbor Bangladesh. Just like Modi has done peace with Bangladesh by land boundary agreement. Similarly, this person has done the same thing. That make him win the Nobel Peace Prize in 2019. So these efforts of democracy, human rights, peace, etc., make him the darling of the West. That is why he won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2019. Coming to the Eritrea, it shares a long border area with Tigray region, and it is enemy of Tigray People Liberation Front. Okay, so if it is enemy of TPLF, for example, if West Bengal government does not like the Bangladesh government, West Bengal government led by Mamata Banerjee does not want Tista water dispute to get implemented. Similarly, this TPLF does not want Tigray region to have any sound relationship with Eritrea. So this peace with Eritrea is going to antagonize TPLF. Similarly, if Modi proceed on Tista water dispute with Bangladesh, that would instigate Mamata Banerjee. Similarly, this effort of peace with Eritrea instigate TPLF. What else? This AB wants, just like Modi want Congress Mukt Bharat, similarly, TB want TPLF Mukt Bharat, Mukt Ethiopia. The TPLF free Ethiopia. That is why he removed TPLF from senior government position, which has further alienated the TPLF. Now, he has formed a new political coalition that is named as Prosperity Parity. So basically, a new coalition has been formed which have all the constituents, that is all the political parties of Ethiopian Public Revolutionary Democratic Front except the TPLF. Basically, he is alienating the TPF. So alienation would always be resisted, most frequently violently. And at such thing happen in Ethiopia also. Same thing happened in Ethiopia also. He has postponed the general elections in August 2022-2021, citing coronavirus pandemics. A Tigray politician says he is doing so to get the power, to remain in power for longer period of time. So they held election on their own in the Tigray region, in violation of order of government. This led to rising tension between TPLF and government. And now TPLF has attacked federal military base in Tigray. Now there is possibility of civil war between central government and TPLF government, because TPLF is former militia. They knew how to fight. They do know how to resort to violence. That Tigray region would be the uh, ultimate sufferer. There people would suffer the most. And the Ethiopian PM is saying that we are not doing for any ethnic calculation. What does it mean? We are not doing any ethnic cleansing. We are not against the Tigray population. We do not want Tigray population to get wiped out from Ethiopia. We are not the Hitlers. We are just doing the historical power imbalance correction. Earlier power was tilted towards Tigray people. Now it has been restored to other ethnic communities in Ethiopia. And he's making peace with the neighbors like Eritrea. Now, what is the implications? TPLF has fired rockets into Eritrea. Why? Because it wants to create problems for the PM. How Eritrea would respond to TPLF or respond to the attacks in Tigray region. Tigray region is the part of whom, that is Ethiopia. So Ethiopia would may counter-attack Eritrea. So again, the relationship between Ethiopia and Eritrea would get deteriorated. If you do not understand it, let me give you an example. Whenever we want to establish a good relation with Pakistan, what happens? This the non-state actors like Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, etc. They get unhappy. In order to spoil the good relationship developing between Pakistan and India, they would launch an attack on India, terrorist attack on India. So now the public opinion in India would get anti-Pakistani. So that is why the peace relation or the good relations get spoiled because of these efforts. Similar thing has been done by TPLF. They have attacked the Eritrea. So Eritrea public opinion would be anti-Ethiopian. So that is why the good relations that was formatting between them would get spoiled. Then there would be wider regional war in the Horn of Africa that I have already explained. And Tigray also shares border with Sudan. And Sudan has unresolved border dispute with Ethiopia. Sudan is basically China. Just like Pakistan has border relationship with China and China has border dispute with India and China support Pakistan, similarly Sudan support TPLF. And TPLF do have the good relationship with Sudan ousted dictator Umar Bashir. If the Sudan new leader maintain old links with TPLF, that may create new problem for Ethiopian prime ministers. And ultimate sufferers are the civilians. They are now going to face huge war atrocities because of this political struggle between two factions of the country. So what is the way forward? Abiy needs to reach out to the political leadership of TPLF to stop fighting, to find a common ground, to share power and restore the balance between ethnicity and region. Basically, the balance of what? Power or political balance. And how it can be restored? By decentralizing the federal government. What does it mean? Giving more powers to state government. Kind of Article 370 they were advocating. Give more power to state government so that they feel more integrated into the union. And African Union can play a role in assuring civilian safety and security. Now, the question arises why we have read this issue. First, it makes us understand that same political story is repeated in every other country. Second, the lessons we can derive from Ethiopian power struggle in our home country. As Abdul Kalam Azad says, do not learn from your own mistake, learn also from others' mistakes. Third, because of India's Ethiopian relations. Ethiopia is one of the largest recipient of long-term concessional credit we are giving in the African region. We have given more than $1 billion to Ethiopia for rural electrification, sugar industry, railways, tele-education, telemedicine under the Pan-African E-Network project. And also there is linkage between Addis Ababa University and IIT Delhi Kanpur. Our bilateral trade is $1.28 billion. Out of it, our exports is $1.23 billion. dollars. So basically, it is our market. It is our market. Ethiopia is our market. So we cannot lose our market because of power struggle. And more than 586 Indian companies are there in Ethiopia who are employing greater than 50,000 people and has invested more than $4 billion in Ethiopia. And also our Indian diplomatic mission is celebrating in Addis Ababa, that is the capital of Ethiopia, International Day of Yoga, and also Gandhi at 150, that is basically the 150th birth anniversary of Gandhiji. So to develop cultural relations also with Ethiopian people. There is also one strategic dimensions. Let me tell you by showing the map. See, at this place, Djibouti, China has developed a military base. So to secure this Red Sea, from Red Sea, see what happens. Suppose, uh, let me draw a map. Okay, this is basically the Gulf region. Here, Yemen, Oman, Saudi Arabia. Okay, and this is Red Sea, and this is Persian Gulf. Okay, China is oil dependent country. So from here, Persian Gulf through Gwadar, it would take away the oil. It also wants to take away oil from this region, that is from Red Sea, like this in this manner through Indian Ocean, etc. So to protect this sea route of oil import, it established its base in Djibouti, so that any attack on this route may be countered by this military base. Remember this Somalia pirates are there also, who can attack any ऑयल शिप ऑफ चाइना. ऑयल शिप जो चाइना की यहाँ से जाएगी, सोमालिया के पायरेट्स यहाँ पे अटैक कर सकते हैं. तो इसीलिए चाइना ने यहाँ पे मिलिट्री बेस बनाया है. बट दिस मिलिट्री बेस इज नॉट ओनली मेंट फॉर प्रोटेक्टिंग इट्स ऑयल शिप्स or you can say its export goods ships etc. This is also meant for strategic encirclement of India. That is why we want to have good relationship with Ethiopia, so to counter the growing military presence in northeastern part of Africa, of China. So coming to this is the main answer at the question. Power and accommodation can be done by the large-hearted leaders. Critically examine the statement by giving historic and current domestic and international examples. See, always remember power sharing, power accommodation, power delegation, power decentralization is not easy to do task. It is not easy to do task. Why? Because we have discussed that capitalists, they want to keep whole share of profit with themselves. Similarly, politicians has the tendency to keep all the power with themselves. Indira Gandhi has this tendency. Narendra Modi has his tendency. All the decisions are taken by the PMO, that is the Prime Minister Office, because all the power is concentrated in PMO or at maximum Home Ministry, that is led by the Amit Shah. But power sharing, delegation, decentralization, this has been done by the Gandhiji. He has not only groomed himself but also groomed other leaders like Nehru, Patel, Bose, Rajendra Prasad, etc. Even after his immediate death after independence, these leaders he grouped was able to take India forward. If he has not grouped these leaders, the India may face an crisis in 1948. तब हम कहते हैं कि ब्रिटिशर्स मत जाओ, हमारे पास कोई लीडर नहीं है, तुम ही संभाल लो हमें. But he has groomed such leaders. That's why they were able to read in the command of the country when the time comes. So the power sharing, delegation, decentralization uh, is the hallmark of a large-hearted statesman leader. Just like P.V. Narasimha Rao, who has done 73 constitutional amendment, has decentralized the power to local bodies. So by giving historic and current domestic and international examples, you have to write this answer. Oh, sorry. Yeah, good morning, Neelam. All of you are coming late today. That is not good. We come on time in class. Okay. So coming to the Belgaum dispute, this is very old dispute between Karnataka and Maharashtra. We will do it in detail. And I think beyond this discussion, you do not need to read anything. So recently, what happens? Maharashtra Deputy CM says Belgaum leke rahenge. See, first see the map. Okay, this Belgaum district is in Karnataka. This is Goa, Maharashtra, and Karnataka. This is at the border area between Maharashtra and Karnataka. But this region belongs in the territorial jurisdiction of Karnataka. Okay, and Maharashtra wants to reclaim back the Belgaum region. It wants Belgaum region to be part of Maharashtra. Now Maharashtra government has said that we want to take back the Belgaum region. Why? Why it happened? Because you would get to know. Just we would move towards the topic. Okay, because of your test, you got late. Okay, okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. So what is the origin of the dispute? See what happens during the British period. This region was Bombay Presidency. This region was Bombay Presidency. Go this Maharashtra region, Gujarat region, Karnataka region, all comes under the Bombay Presidency. So now state reorganization question comes in 1950s that we have to reorganize the state, we have to redefine the borders, we have to create new states, etc. As per the linguistic demands of the people of this locality. That is why Belgaum municipality requested that the district having predominantly Marathi speaking population should be included into proposed Maharashtra state. And State Reorganization Act of 1956, it gives Behelgaum and 10 taluks of Bombay state to Maharashtra. Sorry, to Karnataka. Now the dispute started. Because State Reorganization Act, if you have read it, based on this uh, Fazal Ali Commission, isn't it? Eskedar and Fazal Ali Commission. And also JVP Commission, Jawaharlal Nehru, Vallabhbhai Patel and Patabi Sitaramaiah Commission. Okay. This commission has given preference to linguistic based states. That on the basis of language states would be created. For example, Punjab for Punjabis, Bengal for Bengalis, Kerala for Malayalis, etc. But also at the same time, they do not overlook the administrative convenience factor. They do not overlook the administrative convenience factor. They do sometimes consider that while drawing the boundaries of the state, administrative convenience would also be taken into account. That is why Belgaum was included in the Karnataka, not the Maharashtra, despite the Marathi speaking population is in majority, despite the wish of Belgavi people to be included in Maharashtra. Now what happens? Marathi community become minority, linguistic minority in Karnataka. That is the implication. You get understand the one point. Come to the next story that proceed. Now opponent says that Marathi peoples are in majority than Kannadiga people in the Belgaum districts. That's why we should be included back in the Maharashtra. And this has been supported by Maharashtra government in 1957. So that is why a commission under former Chief Justice Meher Chand Mahajan was established in 1966. Why? Because of regionalistic politics, son of soil politics, son of soil politics. कि हमारे मराठी मानुस वहां पे सेफ नहीं है, सिक्योर नहीं है, उनका डेवलपमेंट नहीं होगा, उनकी प्रोटेक्शन नहीं होगी, इनकी they would not feel happy in the Karnataka. That is why this region need to be brought back. And this regionalistic politics let them get the votes in the Maharashtra elections. That is why this matter was raised. So in 1967, Mahajan Commission said 264 villages in the region should be transferred to Maharashtra, but Belgaum district and 247 villages should be remained with Karnataka. And this was rejected by Maharashtra because it does not get the Belgaum district. It said it is biased in favor of Karnataka. Karnataka welcomed the report. Karnataka said कि खोए मुर्दे उखाड़ देगा क्या फायदा? There would be no benefit in reigniting the old issues. Now, this recommendation has not been accepted by the center. It has not been implemented by the center. So, what remains is the status quo. Status quo on the 1956 Reorganization Act drawing of boundaries. Whatever boundaries is drawn by this act, it remains that only. वही रही boundaries, कुछ बदला नहीं. So in 2004, Maharashtra government moved the Supreme Court for settlement of border dispute. What does it mean? Under Article 133B of Constitution. See, if you remember this article is meant for resolving the federal disputes. What is the federal dispute? Between center or states? Center plus states on one hand and other states on other hand. For example, or CA and RC. BJP rules states and center on one side, and Kerala, West Bengal, Rajasthan, etc. on other side. Third is between states. That is basically the Belgaum dispute. Okay, and they demanded that 814 villages from the Karnataka should be given back to Maharashtra. Why? Why? What are the reasons they have given? First, they are bordering Maharashtra. Second, Maratha community majority. Third, Maratha people themselves wants to be incorporated into Maharashtra. Then they says Belgavi, Maratha speaking population dominance is there, and Cover and Supa. Here Konkani people are in majority. But Konkani is dialect of Marathi, so that's why this region should also be included in Maharashtra. And they have given the theory of village. What does it mean? Do not take district as unit of measurement of population of different communities. कि डिस्ट्रिक्ट वाइज आप पॉपुलेशन को मत देखो कि मराठास की कितनी है, कन्नडिगा की कितनी है. यू टेक द पॉपुलेशन मेजरमेंट ऑफ डिफरेंट कम्युनिटीज बाय टेकिंग विलेज एज यूनिट. आप विलेज वाइज देखो कि मराठा की कम्युनिटी की कितनी पॉपुलेशन है, कन्नडिगा की कितनी कम्युनिटी की कितनी पॉपुलेशन है, एक्सेट्रा. एंड इफ द विलेज हैज मराठा कम्युनिटी greater population, then merge it with Maharashtra. If the village has Kannadiga majority, then integrate it into Karnataka. That is basically the proposal of Maharashtra government. So now what is the Karnataka position? It said boundary तो settle हो चुकी, हमें दोबारा पंगे नहीं लेने. We do not want to reopen the border issues. Once it is settled, it is settled for all. So what are the latest development? Maharashtra said we want to re-back the 814 villages, लेकर रहेंगे पाकिस्तान. So basically, it wants to get the Belgavi region, and he has appointed two ministers like Eknath Shinde as coordinator to speed up the judicial proceeding in Supreme Court. And also there are some tensions in the border region. So what happens? Let me tell you the political background of this issue. One thing you understand, because of regionalism, this demand is risen. Second, recently what happens? This one seat in Belgavi region get empty, get vacant because of death of Congress MLA there. Okay. So what happens? Karnataka's CM, that is Yedurappa. He has proposed Maratha Development Corporation. Maratha Development Corporation. And it has provided 50 crore rupees, 50 crore rupees to ensure the well-being of Maratha peoples. Okay. Why he has established this corporation? Because this Belgavi seat has high Maratha population. So he wants to woo or attract this Maratha population. And he was able to win this election. And Yedurappa is BJP minister. So in Maharashtra, who is in power? Shiv Sena and Congress, NCP. Now Congress, NCP, Shiv Sena get alarmed that Maratha voter may shift to BJP. That is why they want to retain their Maratha vote bank, and they invoke this regionalistic pride, regional identity card to secure their existing vote base and also attract new vote base among Maratha community. That is why they have raised this issue. Okay. So now this is the prelims question for you. Answer it. We will move forward towards the other question. So did any state has been created in past on any different basis than linguistic? See, Telangana, that is the recent example. Both are Telugu speaking region. Telangana is created because of underdevelopment. Telangana region has remained underdeveloped as compared to other region because of neglect of their economic, political, social leaders. And you can also say about little bit about Jharkhand. Their ethnic community given preference like tribal population populated area has been separated from Bihar. And you can take the example of I think Uttarakhand also. It is carved out of UP not because of any linguistic differentiation, but because of its geographical region. That is, it is hilly area, and hilly area requires separate administrative, political administrative structure. That is why Uttarakhand is created. So initially it was language-based state formation, but over the course of time, other factors also start uh, taking into account. You can say the example of Goa, where there was agreement with Portuguese that Goa separate identity would be maintained. That's why it was first created as UT, then later it converted into a state. So other factors also do considered. Okay. And carved out of Jammu and Kashmir from separation of Jammu and Kashmir for Ladakh. You can say about separate religious identity or security reasons were there why Jammu and Kashmir as a state was created and Ladakh was separated recently. This also be possible reason. Okay. Yeah, let me see the. You are all answering A. Let us see. Yeah, answer is A. Answer is A. Right. So this is Article 32. What is the news about Article 32? I think first you should know about what is Article 32. It is basically Article of Constitutional Remedy. I have explained you in the previous class the concept of this normal triangle and reverse triangle. Here in medieval era, king was the ruler and people were its subject. So whose wish would prevail in the society? Kings. Whatever king thinks, that would be followed by the ruler. Whatever king order, that would be followed by the people. King words becomes the law of the land. मेरा वचन ही मेरा शासन जो बाहुबली में वो बाहुबली की माँ बोलती है वही मेडिवल पीरियड में was the law of the land. Okay, but in democracy this triangle is reversed. People are the ruler and they are known as citizens, and political and administrative executives are public servants. Okay, so that is why who have the greater rights? Citizens. Who have right to freedom of movement? Citizens. Who have right to freedom of speech and expression? Citizens. Who have right to criticize their public servants? Citizens. Who have right to occupation, right to life, liberty, religion, etc. Citizens. And this triangle could be remade so if there is certain institution which is there to protect it, and this institution is known as judiciary. ये ट्रायंगल रिवर्स तब तक रह सकती है जब तक एक इंस्टीट्यूशन है जो इस ट्रायंगल को रिवर्स रहने तक रहने के लिए प्रोटेक्ट करेगा, वो है जुडिशरी. अदरवाइज ओवरनाइट दिस ट्रायंगल कैन बी रिवर्स्ड इफ देयर इज नो पावरफुल इंडिपेंडेंट जुडिशरी. Political executive is quite tempted to reverse this triangle back to normal triangle of king and people. Because in this normal triangle, he got the maximum power. In reverse triangle, he is just a servant. That is why politicians like Indira Gandhi, Narendra Modi always try to reverse back these triangles. Nevertheless, how constitution ensure that independence and powers of judiciary through Article 32. Article 32 is one of the means through judiciary assert independence and powers. How if citizens feels that this triangle is being reversed, their rights are being snatched away by their servants. They can approach the judiciary and judiciary can order these public servants to remain within the constitutional framework, to never violate the citizens' rights and do not try to become rulers, rather be remain as servants. And this 32 article is enforced through multiple writs like habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, etc. I think you all have read in your static portion in your Lakshmikant book. Okay, I do not, I think, do not need to explain this. So now what is the issue? Issue. Chief Justice of India said, we are trying to discourage petitions under Article 32. We are receiving a large number of petitions under Article 32 and we are not able to cope with it. That is why we are discouraging these petitions. And we are advising the petitioners to approach High Court first. If High Court is not giving you the constitutional justice, the justice for the violation of fundamental rights, then come to us. Do not come to us on the first instance. Do not come to us on the first instance. Yes, certiorari prohibition is also there. That is also there. So why Supreme Court is saying first it is receiving large number of writ applications. Second, it has observed that High Court has also the same power of upholding the fundamental rights. This job can be done by the High Court. Third, it would be convenient for the people to approach the High Court rather than Supreme Court. How if a person is in Tamil Nadu, that person would able to approach easily the High Court, but he would find difficult to approach in Supreme Court, which is situated in New Delhi. Okay, and this view of CGI has evoked huge negative response from the legal luminaries, intelligentsia, intellectuals, etc. Why? I would let you know. First, we would discuss little bit more about 32. These writs you already know, I think. Article 359. These writ application. This Article 232 is not suspendable. Is not suspendable except only in one condition, that is in emergency. That is under Article 359. Only in one condition your right to move courts to enforce your rights is suspendable. That is Article 359 emergency. Otherwise, it cannot be snatched away from you by executive or legislature. It would remain with you for forever. And this jurisdiction, Supreme Court observed, is original but not exclusive. It means you can approach the Supreme Court first. And Supreme Court is constitutionally duty bound to accept that petition. Because Constitution has cast a specific responsibility and duty on Supreme Court to protect the fundamental rights of the citizens. But it is also, this power is also shared. This power is also concurrent with High Court. It means citizens has the choice. Citizens has the choice whether to approach High Court first or Supreme Court first. Supreme Court has duty to accept it. High Court does not have the duty to entertain it. High Court may refuse to entertain it, but Supreme Court cannot. But High Court can issue legal writs for legal rights also, like right to information, Manrega, etc. So that is why its writ jurisdiction is wider. And in Chandra Kumar case, L. Chandra Kumar case versus state of Tamil Nadu, Supreme Court said this jurisdiction of both High Court and Supreme Court is part of basic structure of the Constitution. But Supreme Court also said if you can get the relief from High Court, first approach the High Court. It would reduce burden on me, it would ease convenience for you, and also High Court would also able to play its constitutional role. Now, what is the criticism of the Supreme Court or CGI view of diminishing the role of Supreme Court in entertaining Article 32 petitions? First, non-obligatory on the part of High Court to accept or not to accept the writ applications. Second, growing accusation on the Supreme Court that it is becoming it is just becoming the puppet of executive. Article 32 contains very essential fundamental rights petitions. It do relates to the life of the citizens. लोगों की जिंदगी इस पर निर्भर करती है, अफेक्ट करती है. For example, this Kerala journalist who has been arrested in UP for visiting Hathras, and it has been 2 months. He has been not provided any lawyer, and he has been provided lawyer legal service only for 5 minutes. And Supreme Court has no time to take up this Kerala journalist Kadappan journalist case. But Supreme Court has shown huge hurry in Arnab Goswami case. So it is been alleged that Supreme Court is working in biased manner. Third, highly important cases it is not taking up. Highly important cases. आपको मैं एक जोक सुनाता हूँ. एक बड़ा फेमस जोक है. हस्बैंड कहता है कि एक बार पूछते हैं कि हस्बैंड से कि घर में किसकी चलती है, हस्बैंड आपकी चलती है या आपकी वाइफ की चलती है. तो हस्बैंड कहता है कि जो छोटे मोटे फैसले होते हैं वो तो मेरी वाइफ करती है और जो बड़े फैसले होते हैं वो मैं करता हूँ. अच्छा जी, कैसे करते हो? तो he said कि trivial matters are decided by my wife, like in which school the children would read, in what would be the which fridge we would buy, हम टीवी कौन सा खरीदेंगे, कार कौन सी खरीदेंगे, कब शॉपिंग करने जाएंगे, कब हॉलिडे बनाएंगे, एक्सेट्रा. और जो बड़े डिसीजन होते हैं जैसे कि किसको हमारे देश का प्रधानमंत्री बनना चाहिए, बिहार में किसकी सरकार आनी चाहिए, ट्रम्प को जीतना चाहिए कि नहीं जीतना चाहिए, ये सारे फैसले मैं लेता हूँ. न्यूक्लियर वार होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए, ये फैसले मैं लेता हूँ. तो बेसिकली जो जो नॉन important matters related to family are taken by husband and important matters of family are taken by wife. Similar is happening in the Supreme Court. Trivial matters are being taken up by the Supreme Court. It has the time to entertain contempt of court proceedings against Prashant Bhushan, where it has wasted more than 70 hours. It has the time to take up the case of BCCI reforms, and it has devoted more than 7 months for reforming BCCI, and still BCCI has not been reformed. अभी तक BCCI रिफॉर्म नहीं हुई और फालतू में पंगे ले. It has the time to oversee the NRC implementation. NRC is the function of executive, and judiciary is unnecessary interfering in the NRC process. It has the time to take up the case of NRC, but it does not have the time. It does not have the time to take up the issue of electoral bonds, whether there is misuse of electoral bonds in the election system or not. It does not have the time to oversee the constitutional validity of economically weaker section case. It does not have the time to take the case of CA and RC, whether CA is constitutional or not. It does not have the time, but it has the time to take up the case of Kunal Kamra contempt of court. It has the time to take up the case of Arnab Goswami, etc. So that shows Supreme Court's delinquency of its duty. It shows Supreme Court is playing in the hands of executive. Now it is saying to the people of this country that do not come to us. We are not your protectors of fundamental rights. It is the High Court, and High Court has the discretion whether to protect you or not from the excessiveness of executive, from high-handedness of executive. So now Supreme Court is leaving its responsibility. That is why it is being criticized. Fourth reason, let me tell you. Supreme Court has passed transferred cases to itself from the High Court. For example, National Capital Central Vista Program we have discussed in the previous class. Here, petitioner had no such has not demanded such transfer. Petitioner has not demanded such transfer. Supreme Court taken up it to itself, and petitioner lose the stage of appeal. In case they were not satisfied with the Delhi High Court judgment, they can appeal in the Supreme Court. Now, if the Supreme Court does not give suppose does not give a favorable judgment to petitioners, they cannot appeal it further. Now, Supreme Court has also expressed concern in the past that high courts are not exercising their constitutional jurisdiction of protecting fundamental rights properly. They are not protecting the fundamental liberties of people. So they have pinpointed that high courts are not capable, or see, there may be like intellectual dearthness in the judges, where they are not able to understand the issue and understand the nuances of personal liberties, etc. involved. Second, there may be a shortage of judges. There may be control of state executive over high court judges, etc. That is why high courts are not able to protect citizens' liberties properly. That has been absorbed by Supreme Court itself. So how can Supreme Court give back the power to High Court? Okay. Sir, it's contempt, of course. Healthy discussion and critics are always welcome. Yes, but given this condition we are living in, given the situation we are living in, or given the world we are living in, we may be charged with contempt of court. अभी मैंने इतना बोल दिया सुप्रीम कोर्ट के खिलाफ कि अपना contempt of court का केस मेरे खिलाफ ना डाल दे, पर डाल दे तो अच्छा है. एटलीस्ट जैसे मुलायम सिंह यादव कहते थे कि नाम हो, चाहे नाम हो या बदनाम हो, दोनों में नाम तो जरूरी होगा. तो चाहे कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट का केस डाल दे, जेल में डाल दे, बट उससे नाम तो जरूर होगा, पब्लिसिटी तो जरूरी होगी. तो उससे फायदा ही है, नुकसान तो कुछ नहीं है. इट शोज सुप्रीम कोर्ट इज मेकिंग फन ऑफ इटसेल्फ बाय दिस कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट प्रोसीडिंग्स. देखो, बोलने से किसी का कुछ नहीं बिगड़ता. अगर बोलने से बिगड़ता होता है तो आज सारे पॉलिटिशियन कभी रैली करने ना आते. पॉलिटिशियन दिन रात सुबह शाम गालियां खाते हैं लोगों की. लोग उनके बारे में तू इतना कितना बोलते हैं. बोलने से कुछ नहीं फर्क होता. आज सारे एक्टर्स, फिल्म एक्टर्स घर पे बैठे होते, कोई मूवी ना कर रहे होता, अगर बोलने से कुछ होता. तो अगर कोई बोलता है कि भाई सुप्रीम कोर्ट बीजेपी कोर्ट बनती जा रही है, बोलने से कुछ नहीं होता. आप अपने कर्म करते जाओ, अपनी जजमेंट इस तरीके से दिखाओ कि भाई वी आर ऑब्जेक्टिव, वी आर न्यूट्रल, वी आर इम्पार्शियल, और अपना कर्म करते रहो. अब जो दो लोग बोलते हैं उनको बोलने दो. अगर आप ऐसे पतली स्किन होके बैठ जाओगे कि आपकी पतली चमड़ी है, आपको छोटी छोटी बातों से इफेक्ट होने लग जाओगे आप, तो एक तो आप अपना काम अच्छे से नहीं कर पाओगे. दूसरा दूसरा आप जो दूसरे जो 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 सेकंड जो पर्सन आपको क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है, आप उसको ओवर पावर कर रहे हो, उसको और पावर कर रहे हो, उसको और पावर दे रहे हो कि तू मुझे और क्रिटिसाइज कर. अब किस किस को रोकोगे? अब ये तो कुणाल कामरा या प्रशांत भूषण है. आप देखो ट्विटर पे कितने ट्रोल्स सुप्रीम कोर्ट के बारे में कितना कुछ बोल देते हैं. किस किस को पकड़ोगे, किस किस को जेल में डालोगे, किस किस पर फाइन लगाओगे, किस किस पर केस लगाओगे. इससे अच्छा है कि आप अपनी काम पे लगे रहो. यू प्रूव योर क्रिटिक्स रॉन्ग्स बाय योर जजमेंट्स. फॉर एग्जांपल मैं आपका देना चाहूंगा दीपक मिश्रा. ये सीजीआई थे. 2018 में क्या हुआ? 4 सीनियर मोस्ट जजेस इंक्लूडिंग रंजन गोगोई, जस्टिस चमलेश्वर, etc. do a press conference saying Deepak Mishra as CGI does not performing his duty properly. But Deepak Mishra has maintained a dignified silence on this accusation. He does not say a single word on it. He continue his work. As CGI. He does not give any answer to allegation of being a BJP puppet. But by his judgment of triple talaq, his judgment of right to privacy, his judgment of this one more progressive judgment was there on Sabrimala, etc. He has shown to the world that he was objective, impartial, and neutral. So do not resort to these kind of criticism if you are truthful. If you are truthful, if you are honest, if you are integrity, these criticism does not matter. Just focus on your work. And similar, हम यहाँ से हम अपनी आईएएस की प्रिपरेशन में भी लर्निंग ले सकते हैं। आपके रिलेटिव्स, योर नेबर्स, योर फ्रेंड्स मे कास्ट सम रिमार्क्स अपॉन यू, डू नॉट टेक देम सीरियसली। पॉलिटिशियन की तरह डेवलप अ थिक स्किन लाइक अ पॉलिटिशियन व्हेनेवर, जस्ट लाइक this plastic paint of Asian paints, where you throw any kind of oil, any kind of liquid on the wall, it got erased automatically. Similarly, you should develop that plastic paint on your skin. Whenever any adverse remark is put upon you, you can clean it yourself. It does not affect your mental balance. That quality you should develop in yourself also. Yes, it can be charged, but मैं अकेला नहीं मरूंगा। मैं बोलूंगा कि आप सभी ने मुझे ये कंटेंट दिया था, आप सभी ने मुझे उकसाया था ये सब बोलने का। मैं आपको भी लेके चलूंगा जेल में और वहीं पर पढ़ाऊंगा आपको फिर। फिर वहां से करंट अफेयर पढ़ाऊंगा मैं, क्योंकि जेल में न्यूज़पेपर तो आता ही है। तो डेली न्यूज़पेपर डिस्कशन वहीं कर लेंगे और उससे पीसफुल जगह कहीं नहीं मिलेगी हमें टू डू आवर क्लास। So if Praveen is asking in interview what stand we should take, see the stand I have told you now. You can take about that Supreme Court should develop a thick skin. It should not bother about this criticism, especially of comedians who does not. Why you are take, see the problem in this country is we take comedians seriously, actors seriously, and we take intellectuals lightly. We take our politicians lightly. So, so you can say that the Supreme Court should not bother about this kind of criticism. They should continue their juristic work only in extreme cases where it feels that if they do not take such contempt action that would truly scandalize the court, then only they should intervene. Otherwise, Supreme Court trust is quite strong in the minds of the people of this country, and it cannot be broken by the few allegations of few individuals. कुछ लोगों की कुछ बातों से सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ट्रस्ट हमारी आंखों से नहीं जाने वाला। सुप्रीम कोर्ट को अपना काम करता जाना चाहिए। सुप्रीम कोर्ट शुड आंसर विद इट्स न्यूट्रल impartial objective judgments, and Supreme Court should focus on the more important constitutional matters of electoral bond, Article 370, petitions, etc., so that सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैन प्रूव इट्स क्रिटिसिजर्स रॉन्ग बाय इट्स वर्क। तो आप एक चीज याद रखना, इंटरव्यू में कभी भी वो आपकी ओपिनियन सुप्रीम कोर्ट पे नहीं चाहते। दे नेवर एक्सपेक्ट योर स्टैंड ऑन सुप्रीम कोर्ट, दे नेवर दे आर नेवर इंटरेस्टेड इन योर स्टैंड ऑफ दिस कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट इशू, नेवर। दे आपको देखो, इंटरव्यू का फंडा क्या होता है मैं आपको बताता हूं। योर वर्ल्ड व्यू, your worldview tells about your personality. जब आपसे इस इशू में से पूछेंगे क्रिटिसिज्म कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ कोर्ट में, इंटरव्यू क्या चेक करना चाहता है? आपका स्टैंड नहीं चेक करना चाहता कि आप इस मुद्दे में क्या स्टैंड रखते हो, नहीं। दे जस्ट वांट टू चेक योर पर्सनैलिटी, हाउ कि tomorrow as an IAS officer you face these kind of criticism, you face that you are partial, you are partisan, you are favoring one kind of political party, etc. Then as an IAS officer what would you do? That this checking of your mental response दे आर इंटरेस्टेड इन। तो तभी आपसे ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट वाला क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे और आपके इस वर्ल्ड व्यू से आपका पता लग जाएगा कि हाउ यू आर गोइंग टू हैंडल द क्रिटिसिज्म। तो अगर आप बोलोगे कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट को अपने काम पर फोकस करना चाहिए, अपनी जजमेंट्स पे फोकस करना चाहिए, थ्रू देयर वर्क दे शुड आंसर देयर क्रिटिसाइजर्स, तो उस इंटरव्यू को पता चल जाएगा कि यू आर अ थिक स्किन पर्सन, यू डू नॉट टेक बेसलेस क्रिटिसिज्म सीरियसली, यू आर कर्मयोगी, यू आंसर द क्रिटिसाइजर विद योर वर्क। तब वहां से उसको आपकी पर्सनैलिटी के बारे में पता चल जाएगा और दे वुड गिव यू गुड मार्क्स। हमेशा ये याद रखना। तभी मैं पूछता हूँ डू यू थिंक, हमेशा इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चन पे मैं आई ऑलवेज यूज द वर्ड डू यू थिंक। आप क्या सोचते हो? आपके वर्ल्ड व्यू बताते हैं कि आपकी सोच क्या है, आपकी पर्सनैलिटी क्या है। दैट इज वाई दे आस्क यू द क्वेश्चन अबाउट पाकिस्तान, then they would get to know how you are going to approach your adversary in your life by answering Pakistan. They would ask you question about China. Why? Because from this they would get to know how you are अप्रोचिंग योर कंपिटिटर्स, आप अपने कंपिटिटर से कैसे अप्रोच करते हो. दे वुड आस्क यू अबाउट यूएसए, how you are approaching your friends, how you are approaching your strategic partners. That is why they would ask about caste system, gender system, etc. They would get to know what is your approach towards other fellow human beings, whether you are parochial or feudalistic mindset, or you have the modern mindset of equality, etc., fraternity, etc. तो ये भी हो सकता है कि आप हमारा केस ही हम अपने करंट अफेयर में पढ़ रहे हो, ये भी हो सकता है. So, sir, judiciary is also ruler, is not ruler of the court. Yes, exactly. That's the point, Neelam. Judiciary is also a public servant. They all are meant for welfare and well-being of the citizens. Their only duty is to ensure welfare of citizens. If they are harming the interest of citizens, they should not do that such. They should not do such act. कुछ भी एक्शन उनका अगर सिटीजन्स को हार्म पहुंचा रहा है, उनको वो काम नहीं करना चाहिए. So now coming to the Lakshmi Vilas Bank Limited merger. Let me drink some water. So what happens? This bank also get failed. One more card has fallen. One more bank get failed after Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, Yes Bank, etc. One more bank now get failed. That is Lakshmi Vilas Bank Limited merger. Now it has been merged with DBS Bank India. This is basically an foreign bank based in Singapore. So private bank get failed and merged with the foreign bank. So it shows that public sector banks are not taking the sole responsibility of taking up the losses of private sector banks. Private sector banks are being merged with even foreign banks. Okay. So in Yes Bank case, it has been failed. So Yes Bank has been taken over by the consortium of SBI, ICICI, Axis Bank, etc. Kotak Mahindra Bank, etc. So uh, the banks, whether it is in public sector or in private sector, they are both collectively are taking the responsibility of failure of their peers. If their peers get failed, they are taking the responsibility by merging them. What is meant by merger? Basically what happens, all the losses, all the profits are given to DBS Bank. All the assets means property of Lakshmi Vilas Bank is given to DBS Bank. All the liabilities, whatever amount it has to pay, is now the liability of DBS Bank. So all are shifted to DBS Bank. So what are the reasons? Basically, its financial position was declining. It has been suffering continuous losses of 3 years, and it erodes the bank's net worth. What does it mean by net worth? Suppose this is Ramesh. Okay, he has started a business. Suppose by investing rupees 1000 in a tea stall. Okay, in tea stall he has invested rupees 1000. In first year he got the profit of rupees 200. So his now total worth is 1200. But next year he got the loss of 300. Again next year his loss is 300. So from where this loss would be recovered? From his initial money. He has to sell the property he has bought from this money to pay off this loss. So his net worth is now only 600. That is why bank net worth get reduced because of losses. Again, why? Because its gross non-performing assets were 25% of its advances. Advances means loans. Whenever this word comes, advances means loans. NPA means the loan money which was not able to recovered back by the bank. So if the bank has given 100 rupees to people, only 75 rupees it was able to recover back. 25 become bad debts. So in 2019 it was 17%. So basically its performance was deteriorating year by year. So now you know that bank is not able to recover its loan. So it means it is in loss. So if it is in loss, it would not pay able to pay its creditors. I have told you in previous class also who are the creditors of bank. Who are the creditors of bank? Depositors. Creditors of bank are depositor. You deposit the money in the bank. It means you lend money to the bank. Bank is now your creditor. So depositor get feared. They withdraw the deposit from the bank. What happens? Bank is now short of cash. Short of cash. Because cash has been withdrawn by the people, so now it cannot pay the salaries, now it cannot pay the electricity bill, now it cannot pay the internet bill, now it cannot pay the security bill, etc. So bank is near to collapse, it cannot perform its any basic function of lending, depositing, etc. So that is why RBI intervened. It has put a cap of rupees 25,000 on withdrawals so that mass rush does not happen. That all the people start withdrawing all the money they have, and enough cash remains with the bank so to continue its operation. And now it has been merged with DBS Bank, and now DBS Bank would take over all its assets and liabilities. And now are the depositors safe? See, this debit insurance and credit guarantee corporation, it provides insurance cover of up to rupees 1.5 lakh deposit in banks. If your deposits are suppose 4.5 lakhs, you would get the whole money back. If your deposit is 6.5 lakh and the bank get failed, you would get only 5 lakhs. So after merger, its capital adequacy ratio would be 12.15%. And as per Basel norms, it should be 9%. So it is quite above that the 9% benchmark. So now it is in the safe situation. And its common equity capital would be 9.61%. And government and RBI is assuring you that financial system is safe, you would not face any distress in your lending. So now what happens to investors? The share price, the stock means share. When Yes Bank get failed, it reduced to just 10 rupees from peak of 400. Suppose you have 1000 shares. 400 into 1000, you have 4 lakh worth of Yes Bank shares. You can sell it in market and get back the rupees 4 lakh. But within one night, within one day, it reduced to just rupees 10. So your stock price get only rupees of 10,000. So 3,90,000 rupees loss in just one day. And suppose you have 1 lakh share, 10 lakh share, 1 crore share, then you can imagine the kind of loss you would face by this free fall of drop in prices of shares. Then bank again 9,000 worth of additional tier 1 bonds loss. How? See, these are the bonds. Additional tier 1 means safe bonds. It means you invested suppose in government securities. Okay, you spot government securities 9,000 crore. Anytime you can sell these government securities and get back the 9,000 rupees, 9,000 crore rupees. And this 9,000 crore rupees you can pay your creditors. Pay the creditors. Okay, this is basically kind of fixed deposit for bank. Just like for middle class, fixed deposit is the safest investment option. Similarly, these kind of bonds are safest investment for banks. And this 9,000 crore has been utilized by Yes Bank to pay off its creditors. So it got the loss of this 9,000 crore also. In Lakshmi Vilas Bank, the owner's capital, equity capital means owner's money, owner's capital. It get fully written off, fully written off. Written off means get evaporated from the books. What do I mean by it? Suppose it has loss of, see, owners invested suppose 10 crore rupees. Now it got loss of 10 crore rupees, suppose 15 crore rupees. Okay. So now it has to pay its creditor by 15 crore rupees. So from where it pays its 15 crore? From 10 crore. That is the owner's money. Now owners has lost all money. They cannot claim that they should be given any money for Lakshmi Vilas Bank. Okay. So what are the issues faced by old generation private banks? They do not have the strong promoters leading to mergers or forced amalgamation. This topic you need to understand. Okay. This is quite important concept. See, who are the promoters? Promoters are the people who start a company, who build a company. who do the document procedures with registrar of companies, SEBI, etc. Who so to incorporate that company, so to establish that company, arrange funding, arrange its business model, set up its business model, etc. Let me give you the example. Sachin Bansal. He is the promoter of Flipkart. He is the one who has established Flipkart. He is the one who has devised the business model of Flipkart. Take one more example. This Richard, this exact name was this Virgin Airlines founder, isn't it? I forget his name. He is also one of the promoters who has established this. Richard Branson. Branson. Yes, that is the right name. Richard Branson. He is also the promoter of Virgin Airlines. Now Flipkart is owned by Walmart. Who is the owner of Flipkart? Walmart. Who is the promoter of Flipkart? Sachin Bansal. Sachin Bansal is the first person who has established this company Flipkart. But now it has been sold to Walmart. So Walmart is the owner. Do you get the difference? Promoter is the first persons who are the owners of that company and also who do all the initial work to establish a company like preparatory work, paperwork, business model, funding, etc. Okay. For Geo, who is the promoter? Mukesh Ambani. Suppose tomorrow Mukesh Ambani sold it to Facebook. Geo is sold to Facebook, suppose. Then who is the owner? Facebook. Who is the promoter? Mukesh Ambani. I think now promoter concept is now clear to all of you. So now what happens? These promoters of banks, of private banks, they sell all their shares. They sell all their ownership, just like Sachin Bansal did with Flipkart. And now these banks have quite scattered ownership. Scattered ownership means like in Geo, you have concentrated ownership, concentrated. Like you may have Geo may have share 5% share to Google, 3% share to Facebook, etc. But the majority shareholder is Mukesh Ambani. So this Mukesh Ambani has full control over Geo. What pricing it would set, what quality it would offer, what services it would offer, how it would arrange funding, how it would expand its operation, how it would turn profitable, etc. All decisions are taken by Mukesh Ambani. But in these banks, there are scattered ownership. For example, somebody may have 2% shares, somebody 3%, and there are like 40-50 shareholders who have 1%, 2%, 3% shares, etc. So there is no single promoter who own majority shares. Who own majority shares. So there is no single person who control these banks. Okay, that is why there is no effective control over the performance of these banks. Nobody is able to supervise or monitor their performance. That is why they are turning into these kind of mismanagement losses, etc. Take the example, Karur Vysya Bank, it has just promoter share of 2%. Karnataka Bank, there is no promoter. Similarly, Yes Bank, Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, Lakshmi Vilas Bank also lost their promoters. And by losing these promoters, what happens? This promoter has the vested interest. Vested interest in making these banks successful. Just like Mukesh Ambani has objective of making Jio successful. Sunil Bharti has objective of making Airtel successful. Similarly, promoters who has established these companies has the vested interest of making these banks successful. But if these banks does not have promoters, then who have this vested interest of making them successful? Nobody. Nobody has such vested interest. That is why these banks are getting failed. And these promoters help when banks in crisis, when banks are in losses, to get money by pledging their own share. They exercise key control. I've already told you. They provide stability to bank when other banks are trying to acquire it forcefully because they would ensure funding to the bank and they would not let the bank to be acquired by other bank. And it is reliable, predictable of future profitability because promoters would make their every effort to ensure that the body they have established is profitable. And but absolute authority can also make promoter group autocratic. For example, in Geo, there is absolute authority of Mukesh Ambani. If he wants to sell Geo services, Geo telecom service free of cost, he can do so. If he wants to charge rupees 100 per month, he can do so. If he wants to charge rupees 1000 rupees per month, he can do so because of their absolute authority. Why they have absolute authority? Because they have huge shares with them. Huge shares with them. Like in Geo, Mukesh Ambani has more than 80% shares. So all the decision he can easily take. That is why RBI rule says promoters need to reduce their holding to 40% within 3 years, 20% in 10 years, and 15% in 15 years. So basically, RBI itself is disencouraging promoters' role in banks. That is basically one of the crux reason of failure of bank. We need to increase promoters holding. We need to keep at least 20-30% promoters holding. So banks are already stressed because of COVID-19. I think we have discussed it multiple times. So this is the prelims question for you. We will move forward to the next question. Yes, answer it fast. Non-performing asset, Ritik. Yes, non-performing asset is basically the asset which is not performing, asset which is not giving any return to you. And for banks, loan given is asset, is the property which is giving them return. Return how? The interest you give on loans. So this asset is not working for banks, not performing for banks. Yes, answer is D. Yes, Neelam, Rachna, Neha, Deepak, Jyoti, all your answers are correct. Coming to the next topic of governor's mercy power. See what happens. This Mr. A.G. Ferrari Wallen, he has filed a mercy petition. Mercy petition means he has been given death penalty because of his alleged involvement in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, and he has approached Governor of Tamil Nadu to give him mercy petition to give him relief from death execution, capital punishment. And 2 years has been lapsed, and Governor of Tamil Nadu has not taken any action. And Supreme Court expressed unhappiness over this. Why? Supreme Court has said to Governor of Tamil Nadu that whether you want to pardon or not, that is your choice. If you want to commute his death sentence, that is your choice. If you want to execute that criminal, if you want to maintain the capital punishment, that is also your choice. I'm not interfering with it. But the problem is you are taking it more than 2 years to decide whether he should be executed or not, whether he should be hanged or not. That is unfair. Because suppose, just imagine if somebody says you are going to be died uh, within 30 days. Okay, and now you have put the petition in the government to not to let you die, and government is deciding whether you would die or not, etc. Now you would be in uh, quite high mental pressure. You would be in high mental pressure whether you are going to die or not. Let it make it clear to the criminal that you are going to die or you are not going to be died. At least make it clear. इट इज नॉट, ये अच्छी बात नहीं है कि आप उसको रोज मार रहे हो, उसको ख्याल आते रहेंगे मौत के डेली। क्या फायदा उसको रोज मारना? उसको अगर मारना ही है, डेथ सेंटेंस देनी ही है, एक बारी में दे दो। जस्ट गिव द डेथ सेंटेंस इन वन गो। Why you are making him suffer daily for the fear of death? That is basically the Supreme Court unhappiness reason over governor's mercy power. So he has appealed to the governor for pardon on 13 2015, and governor has not decided yet. And basically pardon power, I think you all know about that. Governor has power for state laws like pardon, commute, bribe, respite, etc. But government cannot pardon a death sentence. See, in this case, governor can commute the death sentence of the convict. It can reduce the death sentence. It can change the sentence from capital punishment to life term punishment. He has the power of commute but does not have the power of pardon. Pardon means complete abolition of punishment. What does it mean? Suppose this Ramesh has done murder. He has been given 14-year jail. Okay. Not only 14, he would be, his 14-year imprisonment would be waived off. He would not be required to serve 14 years if he get pardoned. But also in the legal books, his name would be erased from the crime book. In legal crime book, his name would be erased. मतलब ये लिख दिया जाएगा कि रमेश ने कोई मर्डर किया ही नहीं. He is absolutely absolved of any kind of charge. उसने he has not done anything. That would be written if he get pardon. If he get commute, suppose 14 years jail, maybe to 14 lakh fine. That is basically the commute. That is the changing the nature of sentence. I think this you have done in the Lakshmikant. I think I do not have any reason to explain it further. Yes, pardon power is lies with the president. What are the judicial stands regarding this? These judgments are important. This is not in Lakshmikant. Kindly add it this information into your notes so that whenever question comes, you can mention these kind of judgments. First is Maruram versus Union of India. Here it is said that president and governor has the power of pardoning, but this pardoning power is not discretionary power. It is basically president and governor has to be bound by the advice of union and state executive respectively. The state and union cabinet advise the president and governor, and they are bound to act on such advice. So it means when you put your mercy petition, you are not putting it to wisdom of president or governor or mercy of president and governor. You are putting your petition to the wisdom of government of the day. Whichever party is ruling that government, you are on that party discretion or choice whether you would get the pardon or not. Okay. Shatrughan Chauhan versus Union of India. Here Supreme Court says inordinate delay due to circumstances beyond the control of direct convict and caused by authorities for no reasonable ground. It has dehumanizing effects. If you want to hang that person, hang it. If you do not want to hang that person, make it clear that your life is now secured. You would suffer only imprisonment. So if there is inordinate delay, then tax convict can file the petition in High Court or Supreme Court under Article 32 or 226, and they can get the relief of commutation. High Court and Supreme Court, suppose a death punishment has been given and he has filed mercy petition, and there is more than 15 years has been lapsed, and still governor or president, as the case may be, is deciding on the petition. He has not yet decided whether to execute that person or not. So now in this case, High Court or Supreme Court, what they would do, they would change the nature of the punishment from death sentence to imprisonment sentence. So at least he gets some psychological relief that that I got the clarity that I am going to survive. Now what should be way forward? It should be handled with faster pace. So this would be, I think, last topic of the day. 15th FFC means 15th Finance Commission. तो बेसिकली सुप्रीम कोर्ट इसमें कह रही है कि झटके की तरह मार दो उसको, मारना हो हलाल की तरह मत मारो। आप उसको बता ही नहीं रहे हो कि मरोगे मरोगे नहीं मरोगे नहीं मरोगे, उसको मारना हो एक बारी में मार दो, नहीं मारना तो छोड़ दो। The 15th Finance Commission for Health Sector, it has submitted its report to President. Its report has not been made public yet, but the day it is made public, it become relevant for your exam, because there is high possibility in UPSC to ask questions from 15th Finance Commission in prelims and mains both. And it has highlighted some innovative funding mechanism for health sector. Before letting you know about this innovative mechanism, first let us know what are the issues in the health sector. So as per the World Health Organization, India ranked 165 out of 186 country in terms of government expenditure on healthcare. We are just spending around 0.9% of GDP on healthcare, where advanced economy are spending more than 3% of their GDP on healthcare. So 0.9% is how much? Our GDP is around 200 lakh crore. So it is around 1.80 lakh crore. And advanced economy are spending more than 5 lakh crore etc. on healthcare. And as per Lancet study, access and quality of health service is quite poor in country. We are ranking 145 among 195 countries. China is 148, Sri Lanka 71, Bhutan 134, and Bangladesh is 135. And this healthcare access and quality is quite skewed. In some states like Gujarat, Haryana, it is good, but in some states like Bihar, Jharkhand, etc., it is quite worst. And also we have low availability of trained epidemiologists. They are being given low salary job in security sector. Who are the epidemiologists? They are technical person who guide and monitor the process of contract tracing, marking containment zone, and isolating suspected cases. Basically, they have the utility during pandemic. They take the decisions of containment zones, tracking of persons, etc. And our expenditure on research and development is also quite low, that is 0.75% of GDP. And of it, 51% is by the government. Private sector is not spending on research and development, whereas in USA 2.8%, China 2.1, 4.43 for Germany. See, that is why we are generic drug manufacturer. We are just manufacturing those drugs whose patents has been expired. We are not filing large number of patents for new age drugs, but these countries are developing new age drugs, new age pharmaceutical products. That is why we are not able to become a hub for new age drugs. So what are the recommendations of 15th Finance Commission? It said we need to increase the public spending on health from 0.95% to 2.5% by 2024. So that health infrastructure we need to build up. Why? First, because of COVID-19, it has shows that health is wealth. What does it mean? Suppose you earn, suppose you make a target that you want to become richest person in the world and you earn 200 crore rupees in your lifetime. Until the age of 45, you are able to earn 200 crore rupees. But suddenly a heart attack comes and you get died. Then what would you do with 200 crore rupees? Tell me. You make a target that I would be the most powerful person in the world. Till the age of 55, you were able to get the maximum power as possible in the society. You become the Skandar of the world. But you got a stroke and get died. Then what would you do with this power? Take the example of Arun Jaitley. He has spent all his life in politics, etc. But moment in 2019, the moment was there to re-become the finance minister. He got died. Sushma Swaraj got died. So health is wealth. That is why it is required, highly required, that you pay attention to your health also. Then there is commitment under National Health Policy of 2017 that public health expenditure 2.5% should be raised. So now what recommendation has been given by 15th Finance Commission? Why, how we need to achieve this 2.5% GDP target? 2.5% is around, you can say, 5 lakh crore. 5 lakh crore per annum spending on healthcare. His finance commission observed that government does not have the capacity. Government does not have the adequate resources to invest on healthcare. So if government does not have, then who have? Finance commission observed it is private sector. The big companies like Fortis, Ranbaxy, etc. do have huge money available with them. सो फाइनेंस कमीशन सेड कि जिसके पास नहीं है उस पर हम जोर देते रहे कि तू इन्वेस्ट कर गवर्नमेंट कहती रही कि मेरे पास पैसा ही नहीं है मैं कहां से इन्वेस्ट करूं और जिसके पास है उसका पैसा हम ले नहीं रहे those who have the money we are not taking it from them and those who does not have the money we are forcing them to invest. That is basically the government and private sector I'm talking about. So it says we should encourage public private partnership in health sector. Like land would be provided by government, hospital would be built by private sector. Electricity would be provided by government, the nurses and doctors would be provided by private sector. And public expenditure would focus on primary healthcare at panchayat and municipality level because at this level private sector is quite hesitant to establish hospital chains because it is least profitable sector of health. And private player would focus on specialty healthcare like of nose, ears, bloods, heart, lungs, etc. And district hospital here PPP could be act as a role model for healthcare sector. Here private sector help would be taken for training paramedics like nurses, like compounders, chemists, etc. These district hospitals could be turned into district college for paramedics, and this would create health and employment multipliers. I have already given the example of Thailand in previous classes, how social infrastructure become boon for economy also and boon for society also. Then Finance Commission recommended All India Health Care Service. Just like we have All India Service in the form of IAS, IPS and IFS. This IFS is not Indian Foreign Service, it is Forest Service. On the similar lines, we need to create this All India Health Service, where at the center exam conducted by the center this medical officer would be recruited, that is basically the doctors, and these doctors would then be posted into states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, etc. And we need to improve the working conditions for doctors in government hospitals. For example, nowadays there is trend of contract doctors in state public hospitals. See, in order to reduce the salary burden, to reduce the pension burden, allowances burden, these doctors are hired on contract basis, where fixed amount of money is being paid to them, like 80,000 rupees per month, 1 lakh rupees per month, etc. And these doctors then do not do their work with dedication. Why? Because they do not have any security, not only economic security, social security, but also physical security. Since they are contract doctors, they are subject to frequent violence by the patients, especially when their patient family member get died during treatment. So that is why doctors are unsatisfied to work in government sector, public sector. That is why they are being forced to look for medical jobs in private sector, like medical opportunities in private sector. They wish to work in Fortis, Apollo, etc., but not in state public hospitals. So that is why working conditions we need to improvise, like security of tenure, lucrative salaries, etc. But it is not like that. Government is not doing anything regarding PPP in health sector. Government has done many initiatives where private participation in health sector is invited. This is financial support by means of viability gap funding for public partnership in social infrastructure. This we have discussed in previous class. Defense DRDO has developed ventilators with collaboration with industry during COVID-19. IT and private companies had worked on COVID-19 testing kits, masks, sanitizers, equipment, etc. Then National Medical Commission reform was undertaken, National Digital Health Mission taken, Ayushman Bharat has been taken. This all we have discussed in previous class. This is the only new point we have to discuss. This is the only new point we have to discuss. Yes, IMS, Indian Medical Service you are referring. Yes, IMS. This could be named as IMS. So this is the only new point we have to discuss. That is the 17 global health security agenda projects have been started in India with different state government and private organizations. And this has been started by WHO support, where guidance has been given to manage health threats which has potential to spread beyond borders, basically to control the pandemic. And in this program, healthcare workers capacity building is done. So whenever pandemic occurs, we have the ready workforce to combat the pandemic. For this, National Institute of Health and Family Welfare has been chosen as implementing agency. So what is the way forward? We need to encourage PPP in the health sector. We need to have constant working relationship. Constant working relationship means we should not have any on-off mode of relationship. On one see, like on one or two schemes we are cooperating with private sectors, but for rest of the work we are not cooperating with private sector. We should have like holistic relationship with private sector. Or we need to bridge the trust deficit with private sector. What happens? Private sector in health sector is little bit exploitative. It do provide quality healthcare service, no doubt. It do provide innovative method of health recovery, health ailment cure, disease cure, etc. It do help the public sector in combating disease or healthcare challenges, but it is little bit exploitative in terms of high high charges for their healthcare service. इतना पैसा लूट लेते हैं कि आम आदमी के बर्तन तक बिक सकते हैं. So that is why this exploitative nature of private sector in health sector, where जहां पर वो लोगों की मजबूरियों का फायदा उठाते हैं. किसी के फादर की मान लो तबीयत खराब होगी, बहुत ही ज्यादा तबीयत खराब, नाजुक स्थिति है, उनको हॉस्पिटल ले गए, उस नाजुक स्थिति का फायदा उठाते हैं. वो क्या बोलेंगे कि भाई 4 लाख रुपए दे दो, एक दिन के अंदर लेके आओ, 2 दिन के अंदर 10 लाख रुपए लेके आओ, फिर 5 लाख और लेके आओ 3 दिन के अंदर. तो उस एक डिपेंडेंसी सिचुएशन का फायदा उठाते हैं, वो एक्सप्लॉइट करते हैं पेशेंट को. इसकी वजह से दे आर ऑलवेज लुक्ड विद सस्पिशन एंड फियर. दैट इज व्हाई वी नीड टू बिल्ड द ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट. वी नीड टू ब्रिज द ट्रस्ट डेफिसिट. Private sector also need to operate in ethical manner, in regulated manner, in legal manner, in compassionate manner, and also at the same time government and society should be receptive and open to the private sector involvement in healthcare sector. That is what we require. So this is the critically examining the efficacy of PPP model in healthcare as recommended by 15th Finance Commission. So this topic, deemed forest in Karnataka, we will do in next class. Yes, high charges basically. Yes, high charges they put in. High charges for their service, high fees they conduct, like high OPD fees. If you want to consult doctor, you have to pay high amount of OPD fees. Then high diagnostic fees, high drugs fees, high bed fees. That if you want to take any bed in the hospital, you have to give large amount of money. High charges for nurses and compounder fees, etc. So there is so much expenses they would give it to you to pay. कि आप पे ही नहीं कर पाओगे, इतने एक्सपेंसेस देंगे वो आपको पे करने के लिए. So I think that's all for today. In case you have any doubt, you can contact me at my Instagram channel at Mohit. Sorry, this Telegram channel Mohit Bansal 258, or I would respond to you by voice message. मैं आपके कोई भी डाउट हो वॉइस मैसेज के थ्रू आपको रिप्लाई करूंगा. एंड बिकॉज आई फाउंड वेरी डिफिकल्ट इन टाइपिंग एंड ऑल. एंड आप यूपीएससी गाइड का भी, अगर कोई नए स्टूडेंट्स है क्लास में, दे कैन यूपीएससी they can join the UPSC guide family by following the link given in the video description of Instagram, Telegram, YouTube, etc. So that's all for today. I think now we should end the class. It's already 11:20, and I wish you Very happy learning and all the best for your studies. And thank you very much to all of you.